Hello everybody, this is Photios again. This is my website, you can find more about it. This is the QR code for TikTok. And this is God bless America. America needs God more than ever because they are in big trouble. Let me be more specific. In the previous segment, I had mentioned that China is now richer than the United States. This is the real GDP. And I explained what real GDP is. It is the gross domestic product measured taking into account the local economic conditions. And this is when Donald Trump first came into power in 2016. The United States was number 3. Number 2 was the European Union. And we all know that the Americans did everything they could to make Brexit a reality. So this is more current data. It's presented in Wikipedia, and it shows the United States and China GDP. This is the nominal, and this is the real GDP. China is trillions of dollars richer. And of course, China is ahead of the United States in a number of ways, in technology, in infrastructure. They have 40,000 kilometers of rapid rail trains. And the United States is just beginning to try to catch up. They are in a space race now on whether they will be able to land on the moon before the United States does this time. Well, there was a summit meeting between President Donald Trump of the United States and Xi Jinping of China. And the results were rather terrible for the United States. Why do I say that? Because this time, it wasn't that there was an agreement on trade, but there was also an agreement for the United States to stop adding Chinese companies to the entities list. The entities list is a list of Chinese companies that are not allowed to receive certain kinds of American technology for security, national security reasons. Well, shortly after the United States and China came to an agreement in Madrid about trade, the United States brought up a new entities list that had about 20,000 Chinese companies more than the previous one. This is what precipitated the Chinese to issue the new regulations for rare earths, and with the restrictions that it includes, it was going to wreak havoc in not only American industry, but also defense procurement. You cannot build fighter jets or submarines or tanks without any of those materials. So, with the United States agreeing to that, that did not just make a concession on trade, they make a concession on strategic national security, which means they are vulnerable, the security is vulnerable to the Chinese, and that the Chinese now have the upper hand and they can tell them what to do. The other issue I mentioned was autism, and in the United States, the Department of Health keeps issuing idiotic announcements about the causes of autism, when for 30 years we know that autism primarily is psychogenic. It is caused by the sudden separation of a mothering figure from the infant, because when the child is born and the mother holds on to it, the infant thinks that they're one. And if they are suddenly separated, the infant goes into a dizzy, and that can cause psychological, neurological, and psychiatric problems that can last for a lifetime. Francis Tustin, a British psychoanalyst who made this pioneering study in 1991, explained this, and there's been then since a fund to promote her ideas so people can know what's happening, that autism is not caused by pain relievers or by the water of New Jersey or any other nonsense. And that fund was established in Los Angeles, but it's primarily operating out of Tel Aviv in Jerusalem, and there's an annual prize of $1,000 and a lecture. Why Tel Aviv? Of course, because of the universities there, because also if you think the Americans have a problem with autism, you cannot imagine the autism problem in Israel. And that has a lot to do, don't forget, autism is now called the autism spectrum. And the common denominator is inability to empathize. So there is a serious pandemic of that in Israel, and it is not a surprise that there is absolutely no empathy for the victims of Gaza. Going back to geopolitical issues, here is a chart from geographic.org, great place to find the real data, that shows oil reserves in the different countries. And what you can see there is Venezuela is number 1, Saudi Arabia is number 2, the United States is number 10. And why is that important? Because the United States wants to effect a regime change in Venezuela. They don't like the idea that Venezuela has the largest oil reserves and that it is governed by an autocratic government. So they've been bombing boats which they allege carry narcotics illegally. It's against the law in the United States. It's against the international law to bomb civilians without giving them a chance to defend themselves. And these were not armed boats, they were not gunboats, they were like fishing boats. So, things are not going well for the United States. China has surpassed them in every way. Xi Jinping made a big concession and allowed the United States to purchase TikTok. And of course, the people that bought TikTok are the supporters of Donald Trump. And one of the reasons is that TikTok is full of little videos that show the greatness of China. It shows magnificent landscapes, it shows spectacular cities, fast trains, amazing cars, rich Chinese people living in beautiful homes, and etc. So next year, TikTok will change. It will not show so much of what China is about. It will show the greatness of America. Anyhow, that's enough for now. See you next time.